Hello, and welcome to our first conversation about GPCPCS. So let's share how we got going with GPCPCS as a start. First of all, I'd like to hear from Robin about how your practice in PCN, Robin, made a start on GPCPCS.
Thanks, Mike. So my practice started the conversation really back in about November. We were very keen to get in touch with the LPC. So I have a community pharmacy background and know the guys in the LPC and the local pharmacies really well. And we wanted to get going with the service. Part of my time in practice at Beacon Medical Group is working as part of an urgent care team and dealing with on-the-day kind of demand. When I first started here sort of 7-8 years ago, it really surprised me that the percentage of the workload that could be dealt with by community pharmacy was quite high. And we were keen to kind of utilise those existing relationships we had to make a more formal referral to our colleagues in community pharmacy, because they are well equipped to deal with these kind of queries. It's something that we've been doing informally for forever. And I think to really put some structure and processes in place whereby the whole of our team here at Beacon are able to consider and refer appropriate patients to the community pharmacies. It was wins all round for us, really. A win for the patient because they were getting good access, a win for the surgery because we could see somebody else in that appointment slot who might have a more complex and complicated issue. And a win for the pharmacy because they are doing what they are good at and getting paid for it. So that was kind of the viewpoint for it. It just all sounded like a good idea to us because although it might be a bit of initial work in the setup, it would just help strengthen relationships between the PCN and the community pharmacies and just flow better handover, I guess, out to the pharmacies, and then if there was anything that needed escalating back to us, back through to the pharmacy team in the GP surgery and onto the GPs or other members of the team if necessary.
Those sound like really sensible points, Robin, and it sounds like you started with a really positive belief system, which is great. Let's build on that. Nick, please may you share some perspective on how you got started within your own pharmacy in Cornwall, please.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. And I think it's really refreshing to hear Robin with the points of views. Was actually the belief system we had in the community pharmacy was really similar to that with Robin. We have two pharmacies, one on a high street and one in a health centre. And we knew that this was a good idea because, this is something that community pharmacies do all the time. We do speak to patients, we have those clinical conversations with people. It's something that we're used to, but this was just as we saw it, a more formalisation of that process. And although there is a little bit of work in understanding the IT and the formalisation of it, it actually does connect us very much back into being part of the primary care system. So the one thing that we did really quickly when we were getting going was sort of demystified it as our small team of 3 pharmacists of, what does this actually mean for us? And we came to, like I say, the conclusion really quickly that this is something that we do already. We do it on a daily basis. And then it was just reaching out to the general practitioners, which we already have or the surgery team, which we have a good relationship with, and just making sure that we had those formal channels of escalation ready. As Robin said earlier, that feedback loop into general practice is a really important part of it. Yes, there's a formalisation feedback with the IT that we use, but also if something needs to be elevated quickly, being able to get hold of the appropriate clinician. And we really believe this is about people, patients seeing the right clinician at the right time, and that for us is a key belief of why we think that this service is right, because lots of people that we see through this system, we are the right clinicians to deal with them because we're dealing with most of those problems within the pharmacy, and people seem really happy with the outcome. So it was more about demystifying and going, no, hang on, guys, this is something we do. We do this on a daily basis. We are the right people to do this. And we felt really connected back into our GP practice colleagues, which was great.
That's really good. And so much of this is about human belief system. So in my system where I operate in Somerset, we were probably slower adopters. We weren't a pilot site at a system level. So we could only see and find out what was happening at a national and local pilot site level. And we decided to kind of systemize it. The belief system in Somerset was really positive. Our great LMC were right on board very quickly, and we've got a pretty good network of clinical directors in our PCNs times 13 as well. So getting them on board and getting them to help us think through how we could make this land at scale and at pace was kind of the belief that we brought to it. But I would also mention the great support of our NHS England regional team as well, who had been doing some support work and offered us some expert implementers also. So that plan that we made in Somerset was about trying to get the best way for everybody at the same time and implement it in a semi-industrial kind of way, albeit with a very human face to it. And because we landed it quickly and we were moving quickly, we were learning quickly. So it allowed us to then improve how we landed it with the next PCN and then the next PCN thereafter. But getting going on GPCPCS, genuinely in my long career in community pharmacy, has been one of the most exciting and interesting things we've ever done. And I'm really, really proud and pleased of what we've managed to get going in Somerset. Now, we're not there yet, but who is? So look, in terms of this conversation, thank you for sharing those initial thoughts. We're going to be having a second conversation now about not just getting going, but getting growing. But more importantly, we would love to connect with you and join you into the conversation. So please have a look at the contact details in the slide at the end of this video. And if you want to connect with me, Nick, or Robin, you'll be able to do so. Thank you ever so much.